Ceratopsians were a diverse group of herbivorous dinosaurs that lived during the late Cretaceous period, around 70 to 66 million years ago. Known for their distinct frills and horned faces, Ceratopsians are part of the larger group called Neoceratopsia. These dinosaurs were primarily found in what is now North America and Asia. The most famous Ceratopsians include Triceratops, which had 3 prominent facial horns and a large, bony frill at the back of its head. Their frills and horns likely served various functions, such as defense against predators, mating displays, or social recognition. Ceratopsians were mostly quadrupedal, meaning they walked on 4 legs, and they had specialized teeth for grinding tough plant material. These dinosaurs were social animals, often found in herds, and they thrived in a variety of environments, from forests to plains. The fossil record shows that they were one of the last dinosaur groups to go extinct, disappearing around the same time as the non-avian dinosaurs at the end of the Cretaceous. Yinlong is one of the earliest known ceratopsians, a small herbivorous dinosaur that lived during the late Jurassic period, around 161 million years ago. Fossils of Yinlong have been found in what is now China, and it is considered a key species in understanding the early evolution of the Ceratopsian group. Unlike its more famous relatives like Triceratops, Yinlong was much smaller, measuring only about 60 centimeters, 2 feet, in length. It had a relatively simple skull with a small frill and lacked the large horns seen in later Ceratopsians. Yinlong was likely a bipedal dinosaur, walking on 2 legs, and it probably fed on low-lying plants, such as ferns and cycads. Its discovery has provided valuable insight into the early stages of ceratopsian development, revealing that these dinosaurs began as small, nimble animals before evolving into the larger, more specialized forms seen in the Cretaceous period. Psittacosaurus is recognized as one of the earliest representatives of the Ceratopsia, a group of horned dinosaurs. It is notably one of the most well-documented Mesozoic dinosaurs due to the extensive number of specimens that have been unearthed. This abundance has allowed researchers to classify 14 distinct species based on variations in skull morphology, although there is some disagreement among experts regarding these classifications. In contrast to later ceratopsians, it is believed that Psittacosaurus was primarily bipedal. It possessed 4-fingered forelimbs and elongated hind limbs. Additionally, horn-like bony protrusions extended laterally from its cheeks, varying in size and shape across different species. Fossils of juvenile Psittacosaurus have also been found, including a remarkable discovery where numerous young individuals were preserved alongside an adult. One particular specimen exhibited several long filaments emerging from the upper surface of its tail, a feature not observed in any other specimens, leaving the purpose of these unusual structures an enigma. Protoceratops was a small, herbivorous dinosaur that lived around 75 to 71 million years ago during the late Cretaceous period in what is now Mongolia. Measuring roughly 1.8 meters, 6 feet, in length and weighing up to 180 kilograms, 400 pounds, it was a quadrupedal ceratopsian known for its distinctive parrot-like beak and large bony frill extending from the back of its skull. Though lacking prominent horns like its later relatives, Protoceratops had a small bump on its nose and a modest frill, which may have served roles in defense, species recognition, or sexual display. Its jaws were equipped with rows of cheek teeth suitable for slicing tough vegetation such as ferns and cycads. Fossil evidence, including nesting sites and juvenile groups, suggests it exhibited complex social or parental behaviors. Some scientists propose that differences in skull shape and frill size may indicate sexual dimorphism, though this remains debated. Protoceratops likely lived in arid desert environments, where it may have relied on sand burrows or sheltered areas for nesting and protection from predators like Velociraptor. Some paleontologists dedicate their entire careers to excavating ancient rock formations worldwide, yet they may not discover a notable new genus of dinosaur. In contrast, others may arrive in New Mexico at the tender age of 8, begin digging, and successfully unearth Azunoceratops. This remarkable achievement was accomplished by Christopher James Wolfe, the son of paleontologist Douglas Wolfe, in 1996. The skull and a few bones he discovered were sufficient to enhance our understanding of ceratopsian evolution. This 1-meter-tall, 3 feet, dinosaur is recognized as the earliest known species to possess horns above its eyes, predating the more famous Triceratops by 10 million years. Unlike many later species that exhibited a variety of horns and spikes, it had only 2. Its name translates to Zuni horned face, with Zuni honoring the local Native American community. This ceratopsian exhibited impressive horns emerging from its brow and bony frill, and despite its elaborate features, it is among the most primitive specimens identified to date. In 2002, Donald DeBlue discovered its slender skull, measuring 1 meter, 3 feet, in length, in Utah's Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument. For several years, the skull remained encased in a substantial block of sandstone until he arranged for helicopter transport to extract it from the rugged terrain and bring it to a workshop. After dedicating 800 hours to meticulously remove the surrounding stone, he was left with a remarkably preserved skull, which he and fellow paleontologist James Kirkland named and described in 2010. The exploration of dinosaurs is not solely about excavating rock faces in remote areas. It can also involve uncovering long-neglected boxes in a museum's archives to reveal hidden treasures. This was the approach taken by Michael Ryan and David Evans, who in 2012 identified the collected remains of 3 individuals as a new genus of centrosaurine ceratopsid. Dr. Ryan, affiliated with the Cleveland Museum of Natural History, and Dr. Evans, from the Royal Ontario Museum, found the bones at the Canadian Museum of Nature in Ottawa during their Southern Alberta Dinosaur Project, which seeks to enhance the understanding of Canada's fossil record. Although the initial part of its name, xeno, translates to alien, as in xenophobia, the fear of outsiders, this does not pertain to the unusual appearance of Xenoceratops. With its parrot-like beak, elongated brow horns, and a prominent frill adorned with 2 large spikes, it appears as peculiar as any other horned herbivore that roamed western North America during the Cretaceous period. Rather, the name reflects the rarity of horned dinosaur fossils found in the Canadian geological formations where it was discovered. The skull fragments were initially collected by American paleontologist Vaughan Langston Jr. in 1958 from the Foremost Formation in Alberta. While nearby formations, such as the Dinosaur Park Formation, are renowned for their abundant fossil finds, the Foremost Formation has yielded relatively few specimens. These geological layers date back approximately 78 million years, establishing Xenoceratops as the earliest known ceratopsian from Canada. Numerous Centrosaurus fossils have been discovered in close proximity, indicating that these creatures likely lived in groups and participated in seasonal migrations, during which many perished while attempting to cross rivers. The nasal horn of Centrosaurus exhibited a range of shapes, being either short, tall, straight, or curved in various directions. The name Centrosaurus translates to spur lizard, and the upper edge of its frill featured inwardly curved, hook-like structures flanking the midline. A second species, C. brinkmanni, is distinguished from C. apertus by the presence of small spikes along the rear edge of its frill.
Chasmosaurus is among the most recognized chasmosaurine horned dinosaurs, with 4 species currently acknowledged. It featured a relatively elongated snout and a broad frill that possessed 2 significant openings. Conical bones, known as epiccipitals, were positioned around the frill's sides, but not along its rear edge. Certain species, such as C. irvinensis, the most recently discovered, completely lacked brow horns, whereas others exhibited very elongated ones. In C. belli, some specimens displayed short, stubby brow horns, while others had long, curved variants. The morphology of the nose horn also varied among species. In some, it was tall and distinctly curved, while in others, it was short, broad, and blunt. Ionosaurus was named in 1995. Similar to modern bison, these creatures are believed to have lived in herds, and they possessed a distinctive curved horn on their snouts. The full scientific name of the species, Ionosaurus procurvicornis, translates to buffalo lizard with a forward curving horn. The nasal horn of Ionosaurus was notably unique, being flattened from side to side and featuring a tip that curved over the end of the snout. In juvenile specimens, the horn was short and upright, but as the animal aged, it developed a forward curve. Like many other members of the Centrosaurine family, Ionosaurus did not possess brow horns. Instead, it had small bumps or rounded pits in that area. The edges of its frill were undulating, and 2 elongated spikes extended upward from the upper margin of the frill. These spikes were straight, making it challenging to envision their role in combat. Ionosaurus is thought to be closely related to the ancestors of Ankylosaurus and Pachyrhinosaurus, 2 centrosaurines that completely lacked nasal horns and instead featured large bony protrusions on their noses.
Styracosaurus was a centrosaurian ceratopsid that shared a close relationship with Centrosaurus, distinguished primarily by its striking 6 long spikes that extended upward and outward from the neck frill. These spikes, with the longest measuring 221/2 inches, 57 centimeters, contributed to an impressive skull length of 6 feet, 1.8 meters. Styracosaurus featured a relatively short and blunt nasal horn, and notably, only juvenile specimens exhibited brow horns. As adults, styracosaurs displayed crater-like depressions above their eyes, indicating that the brow horns were likely reabsorbed during maturation. Numerous fossilized remains of Styracosaurus have been discovered in close proximity, suggesting that this species likely lived in herds. Currently, 2 species are recognized, S. albertensis and S. ovatus. Torosaurus was a large and distinctive ceratopsian dinosaur that lived during the late Cretaceous period, around 70 to 66 million years ago, in what is now North America. It is closely related to Triceratops but is known for having a much larger and more elongated frill with 2 prominent holes in the center, a unique feature that distinguishes it from other ceratopsians. Torosaurus had 3 horns, 2 above the eyes and 1 on the nose, similar to Triceratops, but its frill and horn structure were more developed and sophisticated. It grew to about 7 meters, 23 feet, in length and weighed around 6 tons, making it one of the larger ceratopsians. As a herbivore, Torosaurus had a beak-like mouth and teeth designed for grinding tough vegetation like cycads, ferns, and low-lying plants. It likely moved in herds, which would have offered protection from large predators like Tyrannosaurus rex. The evolution of Torosaurus from Triceratops and its later appearance has sparked discussions among paleontologists about the relationship between these 2 species and the variation in ceratopsian cranial features, particularly the size and shape of the frill and horns. One of the most well-known dinosaurs, Triceratops is easily recognized by its large neck frill, 2 long brow horns, and shorter nose horn. Unlike most horned dinosaurs, its frill lacked the large openings typically found in others. Some specimens had small, triangular bones lining the edges of the frill, though these were missing in many individuals. Injuries found on fossilized skulls suggest that Triceratops sometimes fought among themselves, possibly over mates or territory. Some fossils also bear bite marks from Tyrannosaurus, and one specimen even appears to have had a brow horn snapped off by a tyrannosaur. Over the years, about 15 Triceratops species were named based on differences in horn shape and size. However, these variations are now thought to reflect individual differences within a single species, and only 2 species are currently recognized.